Hey there, my name is Salome Grasland. I'm a consultant at the Information Lab, and today I'll be walking us through Alteryx Weekly Challenge number 408. So the prompt we're given for this challenge is that Sainsbury's ranks as the second largest supermarket chain in the United Kingdom, according to Kantar's grocery market share data. What began as a modest dairy shop has evolved into a major network of supermarkets. Through the years, Sainsbury has emerged as a critical player in the UK's retail sector. So in this challenge, we're going to be given two data sets. One detailing the locations of Sainsbury stores across the United Kingdom, and another mapping the coordinates of London's boroughs. So what's important here is the first data set is a location of all of the Sainsbury stores across all of the UK. And then the second data set is just a map of the coordinates of London's boroughs. So this is just a subset of the UK. So what we're being asked to do is step into the role of a business expansion manager. We want to identify the three boroughs. So we know we're going to be limiting this to three boroughs in London with the fewest Sainsbury stores. This will help the company pinpoint potential areas for expansion. So after reading this, there's a few things that stands out. So I want to be working with stores that are just in London. So that means I'm going to be looking for a subset of Sainsbury stores. I don't want to be looking at all the stores in the UK. I just want to be looking at stores in London. So let's go ahead and take a look at our data. So I've added two browse tools to this data set. Let's see what it looks like. So this is the location of all our Sainsbury stores. Um, Very important to what we're doing. I can see that we have available to us the longitude and the latitude. So I have coordinates available for each store. So let's check out the second data set. So here we're looking at the coordinates of London's boroughs. So automatically on my browse tool here, I can see that this map shows up of all the boroughs, which means that I've already had a spatial object provided to me in this data set. And if I look closer here, I can see that I have spatial objects in the form of polygons, which is what's building this map of all of London's boroughs. So basically what I'm trying to do now is I want to figure out where are these stores in London, right? So basically I have the coordinates for the stores and I want to see how many are in London, and then I want to figure out the count of them. So the first thing I'm going to have to do is go back to the location of the Sainsbury stores, and I have longitude and I have latitude, but I want to create a point out of these coordinates. So I'm going to go to my spatial palette here, and I'm going to grab the create point tool. Okay, and I'm going to connect that to my location of Sainsbury stores, and I can see here that Alteryx is smart. It's pre-filled the longitude and the latitude with the correct fields from my data set here. And then I'm going to click run. And now if I click on the output anchor, I can see that I have that centroid created. If I add a browse tool to this tool, I can even see that I have a map created for me as well. So here it's rendering the map. So this is a map showing all of the Sainsbury stores in the UK. So I'm just going to remove this browse tool because it can be a little process heavy. And now what I want to do is basically figure out where do all of these coordinates intersect in the London boroughs. So I'm going to go back to my spatial palette, and what I'm going to use this time is the spatial match tool. So if you're not familiar with the spatial match tool allows you to combine two data streams based on the relationship between two sets of spatial objects to determine if the objects intersect, contain, or touch one another. So let's go ahead and bring that on. I'm going to connect my target, which is this is going to be my target because I'm trying to figure out where it intersects in my universe. So my universe is going to be the London boroughs. So just to give a little more context to this spatial match tool, you have four anchors. The first one is your target. The second input anchor is your universe. So basically, your universe is kind of like your base is almost what I think about it. And then the target is what's what's overlapping or what's matching with that universe. And then we have two outputs, matched and unmatched. So that's how this tool works. So there are a few things I need to configure in the configuration panel here. The first thing is the spatial object field. I'm going to choose centroid here. And then what I want here is where target intersects universe. Um, there's a lot of different options that you can explore. I encourage you to check out the examples for the spatial match tool if you'd like to learn more about how these different functions work. So I'm going to click run, and I'm going to check the output anchor for my matched. And so this is going to show me all of the stores that are in London. So if I start looking at this, I do see that the boroughs are boroughs in London. Another thing I'd like to point out here is that it does get renamed to Universe Borough for the borough coming from our universe set, which is the coordinates of London Borough. So just keep that in mind. So the next thing I want to do now is I want to group by borough and get count of stores. So I'm going to go to my transform palette and I'm going to grab a summarize tool and I'm going to connect it to my M anchor. And I'm going to group by borough. What's important though is I want to group by the universe borough. So I'm going to add a group by there. And then I want to get a count of all of the stores. So I'm going to get a count of record ID and I'm going to click run. So now we have a count of all of the stores in each borough. Another thing I wanted to do here is I wanted to change the output field name to just borough. So I'm going to click run again. Cool. So the last thing to do here is to sort the boroughs and then limit the store count to the bottom three, right? Because if we go back to the instructions, our mission is to identify the three boroughs in London with the fewest Sainsbury stores. So we don't want them sorted by highest count, but actually lowest count. So I'm going to go to my preparation palette. I'm going to grab a sort tool. I'm going to sort by count, ascending, click run. And then I just want to keep it to the top three, so I'm going to stay in my preparation palette and I'm going to grab a sample tool and I'm going to get uh, the first n row for every burrow. Yeah. So I don't actually have to group by burrow. I can just do a first three here and three. So I'm going to click run and I'm going to click the output anchor. And now I see that I have uh, the boroughs listed that have the fewest store count. So we see that that's Barking and Dagenham, Harrow, and Bexley. I'm not from the UK, so if I've botched the pronunciation of any of those boroughs, I'm sorry. So let's just go ahead and finish this with a browse tool. Click run. And let's make sure that our output matches the output we expected from the solution here. So if we check the output from the solution, we see it matches up. So we've successfully completed this challenge.